This is the Antimatter Radio Show, the show about everything. Here's your host, Jeffrey Grubb.
Welcome to the Antimatter Radio Show for May 24, 2010. I have a very, very special 2.5 hour one for you today. Usually hour one is about 56 to 60 minutes. Today it's 2.5 hours because of what the subject we have is of the absolute utmost importance. This will be the biggest week in antimatter radio history up to this point, with the shows that we have lined up, with the evidence that we are going to present, with the new ground and new river courses we are going to cut and carve this week. This will be the biggest one by a ways, and I'm going to go through all kinds of different issues, and then Friday I'm going to tie it all together, and we will have an entirely new view of reality, which we've been slowly building, but we will make huge strides in that this week on the show. The reason we can do this is because we have been discussing several issues that others have not been discussing, for some reason have not pointed out, but are very simple empirical issues over the last few months on this radio show. And an example of that is today's show on Chromosome 2 fusion. Okay, this is the baby for the evolutionists. I pointed out a little bit of this last May, but in no kind of detail that was appropriate. The detail I'm pointing out in today is what I've been planning this show for a while, and I've been getting quite a few different people in various angles attacking me over my comments on evolution, saying, hey, you've never brought up Chromosome 2, and well, I figured it's time to do that show. I've had the notes on it for a while. A lot of times I just want to think stuff over so I don't make a mistake. You got to let things season in your mind. That's what I've been doing, but I think it's time because clearly this issue needs to be addressed. And what this will turn into, though, I'm going to address Chromosome 2 fusion, which is the piece of evidence evolutionists sit on. Some stuff with retroviruses they do is, we'll discuss that later. Today's Chromosome 2. This is their big baby here, what they think is it. But what will happen is this will end up pushing us to discuss. We'll basically get a picture on the show today of, from many different angles, the absurdity of not just human monkey to man evolution. The evolution will say no, common ancestor to man. That's like one of their big points of contention. They don't address all the other issues, like the lack of evidence that the skulls provide and so forth. They point out that one. But we'll not just point out the absurdity of monkey to human, common ancestor to human evolution, but all of evolution, from many different angles, with all kinds of pieces of information that just really aren't discussed anywhere. So anybody listening to this show thinking that you're going to get the same old evolution versus creationism debate on this show, you think again. I've never given anywhere the same old evolution versus creationism debate. I've presented new evidence everywhere attacking evolution on all the different shows back in May 2009. The Punctuated Equilibrium show earlier this year. I still can't get anybody to respond to me coherently on that. I'll point it out again today in better detail, but that takes down all of evolutionary theory. All right? and nobody will respond. The YouTube video doesn't get that much attention. People email me attacking me on my comments on evolution. I email that back to them in just terse form. No response is what I get. Okay? So anyway, we're going to cover every angle, but our focus here is Chromosome 2. I won't be talking about intermediate fossils between so-called during a species change. I won't be talking about Scopes trial. I won't be talking about the Lucy and the old smashed up skulls that the anthropologists say are our ancestors. I won't be discussing any of the creationist arguments for intelligent design that you've probably heard before. I won't be discussing probably really any. I won't be discussing probably anything you've ever heard. All right, this is going to be all new evidence. See, if you're a new listener, if you've never heard my show before, this is how this show works. Okay, it's new. We cut a new river course. We have new information. So we're not talking about the stale in terms of the old stalemate arguments and debates that are already out there. Well, some of them aren't stalemates. But anyways, so let's keep going. Now, to my knowledge, this will be the first really successful attack and refutation of chromosome 2. I am not aware of another one out there. I know there's been a lot of creationists who've remained silent on this issue, and probably mainly because they haven't had enough time to think it over. A lot of this fusion 2 stuff is a little bit new in everybody's mind to a degree. You know, it's years old, but to a degree. But usually there's a good, for any evolutionist's claim, there's often just extremely good creationist claims on the other side. For example, you know, evolutionist claim is the Earth is old, and then there's carbon-14. So as far as chromosome 2 goes, I don't think that there's any good counterclaims that I've seen yet. So this would be, I'm treating this as a refutation of chromosome 2, this show. The chromosome 2 fusion being any kind of evidence for human evolution. And of course, people will try to nitpick and find one little thing wrong that I've done in this show and not focus on all the data points that I'm bringing up and all the different lines of theory and so forth. Instead, they'll just say, oh, you used this word wrong, so therefore you're wrong on everything, and they won't address all the specific points. So that'll happen a lot. That always happens. But I'm treating this as the first either attempt at refutation of chromosome 2 fusion as being evolution for human evolution, or evidence for human evolution, or just all-out refutation, period. Pretty strong stuff coming here in a second is why I say that. So what is chromosome 2? Quickly and clearly, humans cells have 23 pairs of chromosomes. All right. Now, primates, well, according to evolutionists, you know, we're a primate, a monkey, part of the monkey clan, to put it humorously. But the rest of the primates have 24. And of course, in the evolution versus creationism debate, creationists have jumped all over this and said, wait a minute, that's strange. Why would we lose a pair? And to be honest, evolutionists kind of ignored this for a little while. But then they... I think some of them started predicting, well, we should find a fused chromosome, and then they did find a fused chromosome. Chromosome 2 involves a fusion between 2 other chromosomes, matching the same position on the monkey genome. Okay, or it's as if you flip one over in the monkey genome, you infuse 2 of the chromosomes next to each other, and that's what you get as forming chromosome 2. The pairs all match up perfectly in the human genome. Now, this has been touted as, and people have emailed me saying I'm an idiot, and this is it, and the evidence is, I'm so ignorant, and they don't care about any of my stuff I've said about skulls or retroviruses or anything. This piece right here is it to crush anything I've ever said about evolution. This is it, the proof of, and people use that word, proof of human evolution from chimpanzees. Now I'm going to play for you a clip here of Ken Miller, Brown University professor, who's one of the main people, one of the main faces behind this, well, they call it a discovery. Well, that's exactly what we'll find out in this show today. Nothing's been discovered. Okay, they just found a variation in the structure of pre-existing DNA, which has a difference from chimpanzees. Well, you'll see. We'll have to just go through it. Anyway, you'll see. So let me play this clip for you. Listen to how confident this guy is, because that's going to come into play later in the show when you see how absolutely simply we refute this idea of chromosome 2. Okay, so here's Ken Miller in a very famous talk, which is getting all sorts of hits on YouTube, and it's this guy's, his face is all over the place behind this so-called chromosome 2 quote proof or evidence unquote of human genetic evolution. Here you go.
The second thing that you saw at the trial was that when data was introduced at the trial, which I and another witness introduced from whole genome sequencing, the intelligent design advocates just literally had nothing to say. We weren't asked questions in cross-examination. The other side never brought it up. They never argued against it. They just left it. Here's an example. Many of you may know that a few months